Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, I am Nur Annisa Hakim from English Education Department 2018, Tarbiyah and Teaching Science Faculty, Alauddin State Islamic University of Makassar. What's going on? How's your life during this coronavirus and COVID-19 pandemic? I think you're very bored, missing your friend, missing Samata. I made this video because this is my middle test project in Introduction to English Literature subject. In this opportunity, I'll explain to you something about literature and English language teaching, or also known as ELT. The first is the concept of literature in ELT. The second is the position of literature in the mainstream of ELT. The third is the approach to the use of literature. The fourth is literary works for English language teaching. And the last is teaching methods and ELT methods. Okay, here we go. Well, the first is the concept of literature in ELT. The literature has its roots also in the movements of Expressionism and Surrealism, as well as in the fiction. It states by Franz Kafka in 1920. But in my opinion, literature is not just a document, but it's about written expression in the fiction which interpret about nature and life. Literature for ELT. There are 4 points in literature for ELT. The first is it's tunable to help the development of second language competence and proficiency of the learners. The second is it has high structural complexity and lack of conformity to standard grammatical rules. The third is its linguistic difficulty requires a lot of background knowledge, English language and culture. And fourth is it will do nothing toward promoting the students' academic and or occupational goals. The relationship between literature and ELT. R.C.E. Hejirika in 2014 states that literature and language are closely interrelated, in which case literature presupposes language, since it's with the instrument of language that literature is actualized. 2. The position of literature in the mainstream of ELT. It's overlooked for inclusion in the ELT curriculum today, and literature is not very popular in ELT because of the emergence of communicative approach with its CLT method. What is CLT? CLT is communicative language teaching. CLT requires authentic and functional based teaching, while literature is regarding unable to give those two things. Therefore, many English teachers avoid using it. There are two views here. The first is the pessimistic views. The pessimistic views affect the role of literature within the mainstream of ELT. Ilyas in 2016 comments that literature nowadays is widely neglected in ELT due to the popularity of communicative approach. Consequently, many teachers feel anxiety about using literature in the classrooms, that they distract the practice of using literary texts from the business of English language teaching. 2. The optimistic views. All the controversies and different stances taken by linguists, literary critics, and practitioners have not been able to hide the reasons for incorporating literature into the English language classroom, states by Benegas in 2010. But which one do I choose? I choose the optimistic views because literature is very closely related to ELT, no matter how, because it provides valuable authentic material. 3. The approach to the use of literature. According to Lazar, in 1993, the first step to do when a teacher plans to incorporate the use of literature in ELT is to identify the needs of learners. Identifying needs refers to a systemic process of gathering information on the learner's necessities, what sort of literary works they prefer. 2. Lacks, what sort of problems they have in language knowledge and skills, and wants, how they want to learn the literary works. After we identifying the learner's needs, the next step is to select the most appropriate approach model and to apply the model. One of the example of approach is using a literature. There are 3 approaches in ELT. They are language based on model, refers to the model of learning and teaching process. The example is syntax, which we learn about the use of grammar, morphology, that we learn about how to pronounce the sound. The second is literature as context. The example is poetry, which need more pronunciation skills. And the third is literature for personal enrichment. The example is when the learners are interested in learning drama, the drama can be used as a stimuli for the learners to perform drama in English classrooms. For this activity, they have a chance to express their feelings, practice some new expressions from the drama, and so forth. 4. Literary works for English language teaching. The differences between literature and literary works is literature may be defined as any spoken or written text resulted from the creativity of humans' mind, are commonly used to entertain or educate people. Basnet and Montfort in 1993 defined literature as a cultural document of a country or countries. Meanwhile, Eagleton in 1983 considered literature as an art. Literary works may be defined as any spoken on or written text created as a result of human creative imaginations that have been evaluated by reading and analyzing them. Reading them make readers feel entertained and educated, while analyzing them make the readers widen their way of looking at different issues and their beliefs. What is teaching? Teaching is the process of imparting skills and knowledge of English to a group of students whose their first language is not English by using literatures or literary works through the implementation of 3 main stages, that pre-teaching or planning, while teaching or giving instructions, and post-teaching or measuring learning outcomes. Teaching and English language teaching. The first is what to teach. Skills and knowledge of English by using literatures or literary works through the implementation of 3 main stages that I have been spoken. And the second is how to teach. That implementing 3 main stages. The first is pre-teaching planning, lessons plans, and teaching materials. 2. While teaching or giving instructions. It includes methods and techniques. And the last is post-teaching, measuring learning outcomes. It is summative or formative evaluation. And the third is teaching technique. Teaching technique is a way of imparting knowledge and skills of English using literature or literary works in order to be able to use these types of literature in teaching English effectively. EFL teachers should consider several factors such as students' interest in certain types of literature, compatibility between the literature and the level of student language skills, students' background, knowledge of literature, time allotment and length of literature, and 5. The possibility of using it for language learning purposes. Therefore, by considering the factors, literary texts may be taught in their original forms or in simplified versions and in various task difficulties. Fourth is teaching methods and ELT methods. The concept of teaching methods and the types of teaching methods. Teaching method is then defined as the principles used for instructions which may cover decision on teacher's way in giving lessons, how to encourage students' participation in the classroom activities, and how to select and use teaching instruments. The choice of teaching method to be used certainly depends on teaching goals and objectives, time allotment, and skill that is being taught, aptitude or teaching performance, as well as students' learning styles and preferences. The concept of ELT methods and the types of ELT methods. The concept of English language teaching is to understand the definition of teaching English. There are 3 types that I have been explaining. That first is pre-teaching, refers to things that teachers do before imparting knowledge to a group of students or planning for teaching. The second is while teaching, refers to things that teachers do when imparting knowledge to a group of students. And the last, post-teaching, refers to things that teachers do after doing the process of imparting knowledge to a group of students or evaluating teaching. Now, I have to review important things that I described. That literature is one way to English language teaching, that it is one of approach that we can use. We all know that teaching is not easy, okay? Teaching is not easy. We have to fully understand what we will to teach to our student. Then we imparting our knowledge to them. And it's not easy because no all students are all the same. They are different. They are unique in their own way. I think the teachers are capable to teach using the method that the students need, and the student must to study and learn by themselves. Also because no matter how the teachers teach them, but if they never practice by themselves, it means zonk. It means that we have to understanding each other between students and the lecturer or the teacher. We have to make a teamwork. Okay guys, this is the end of my video, my awkward video. I would say thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks for your appreciation. I'm sorry if I can't fulfill your expectation because I'm still learning. We all learning all the time after we die. Okay, thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dadah.